Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Chair, would you like for me to get started?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Ana Armenta. I am the Arizona Racing Commission Secretary. Today is January 24th, 2025. This is the 731st Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place via Google Meet, and I will call the roll. Madam Chair French Contreras,
Here.
Vice Chair Olson,
Here.
Commissioner Coolidge, Commissioner Coolidge, Commissioner Zucker,
Here.
Commissioner Pettis.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is 9:33 and the floor is yours, Chairman.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the 731st Arizona Racing Commission meeting. I'm assuming everybody has got their packets or reached out to Anna if they had any problems. We're going to drop right down. As we know, we've got B, item 1 is the continuation of the hearing on the renewal of Turf Paradise permit. Do I have any discussion or questions from fellow commissioners? Yes, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I just had a question and hoping for just a quick update from the department. Thank you for providing the correspondence between yourself and Turf Paradise. If you could just give us the most recent updates on that, and then I guess your recommendation on the agenda item and any other imminent concerns we should be aware of.
Do we have comments from the staff?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Brian Duncan, Racing Enforcement Manager for ADG. If you'd like, I could run through some of the items. If that's the way you guys want me to do this, I can surely do all that.
Sure, Mr. Duncan. I also have Mr. Francia raising his hand. Do we want to have him speak first and then go to staff? Would that maybe be a more expedient way of doing it? Just let Mr. Francia update us with his comments first.
That would be up to you, Madam Chair. If you wish to go that way, that's fine as well.
All right, let's go ahead, Mr. Francia. You've raised your hand. Do you have comments before we move on to the gaming staff?
Madam Chair and Commission, this is Dave Johnson, and I'm just reporting. It seems to be a technical error. The call-in number that was listed on the notice is not working. And
okay.
Mr. Sims has been trying to call in. There seems to be two conflicting numbers, but neither one of them seem to work. So
I appreciate that. Anna, while we're getting an update from Mr. Duncan, can you assist Mr. Sims in getting onto the meeting?
Yes.
All right, great.
Madam Chairman, this is Jean Galvin. I'm an assistant attorney general. I am acting as your independent legal advisor. May I suggest that we just pause a minute to ensure that Mr. Sims and anyone else who wants to join the meeting is able to do that? I don't want to proceed in knowing that we have an issue accessing the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, we can do that.
If they can hear me, I can hear.
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
Yeah, this is Jerry Sims. I can hear you perfectly. There's Dave Johnson's and Vince's speaker listening in.
Okay, great.
If you can hear me, this will work the way it is for me.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Anna, have we gotten notice from anybody else that they're having trouble reaching in? Do you want to just verbally give us a number?
I have an email from Nolan that he's having trouble getting onto the Google link.
Okay.
I'm emailing it to him right now.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
I see that there are some 61 other individuals on the call. So I'm assuming they were obviously able to log on successfully.
That's my thought too. Ms. Galvin, can we move forward, do you think? Then we have Mr. Sims, Mr. Francia, Mr. Johnson on the line. Can we move forward with a report by staff?
Yes, please.
All right. Mr. Duncan, would you like to move forward?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. Thank you. First of all, good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, stakeholders, and attendees. My name is Brian Duncan, ADG Racing Enforcement Manager. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on the status of Turf Paradise's financial report, the conditions of the racing environment at Turf Paradise, and the permittee's compliance with regulatory and safety standards. First, I will provide an update on Turf Paradise's financial report. As previously discussed, the department is conducting due diligence regarding various components presented and questions raised by Mr. Tanner regarding the financial viability. Specifically, a review and closeout of Turf Paradise's ARPA grant is being conducted by the Governor's Office of Strategic Planning and Budgeting. Assuming no issues are found, the grant closeout should be completed in approximately a month. The department will continue to provide updates as available to the Commission regarding the financial report. Next, I will review the items requiring repair and/or remedy by Turf Paradise, the progress of those efforts as observed by ADG inspection, and highlight areas the department believes are outstanding since the last Commission meeting. I will briefly provide historical background and timeline. On May 10th, 2024, the department conducted a post-meet inspection for Turf Paradise. Following this, on June 24th, 2024, ADG Racing and HISA jointly submitted a letter which outlined requested inspections, repairs, and remedies needed for the Turf Paradise racing surface and facilities to ensure readiness for the start of the 2024-2025 live race meet. Since the submission of the June letter, ADG Racing staff has closely monitored the progress of repairs and/or remedies and has conducted weekly follow-up inspections to assess the permittee's compliance with regulatory and safety standards. In addition to the ongoing concerns raised in the June 24th letter, new issues have surfaced since the start of the race meet and following the most recent Racing Commission meeting. Upon discovery, these concerns have been promptly communicated to the permittee and added to the repairs and remedies list for immediate action. On June 21st, 2025, the department sent a formal letter to the permittee detailing numerous items of current concern and items to continue monitoring. The issues have been thoroughly discussed with Turf Paradise management in writing, through verbal exchanges, and during previous Commission meetings. While the department acknowledges the progress made by the permittee, the department continues to work with the track on items that directly impact the condition of the racing environment and the permittee's compliance with the regulatory and safety standards. Madam Chair, for my report, I will review items A through H in the letter dated January 21st, 2025, addressed to Mr. Vince Francia, that was provided to the Commission packet. After my review, Mr. Francia can respond to the items as also included in the Commission packet. We have items still of concern. We have item A, main track and training track surface conditions. Point 1 is to create and implement standard operating procedures for the track superintendent. And then subset is create and implement standard operating procedures for working the track consistently, which can consist of items like blading, harrowing, cutting the track, rototilling, etc. Item 2 would be depth and moisture readings are not reported regularly to HISA and ADG. Item B, turf track surface conditions, create and implement standard operating procedures for the track superintendent. And then subsection 1, create and implement standard operating procedures for working the track consistently. And such items can be like cutting, rolling, watering schedule, moisture readings, items like that. The number of races run daily on the turf track every week is tearing up the track. Item C, water trucks. 2 trucks have been replaced, and I'll update that. The third one did show up yesterday in the afternoon. There is a need to closely monitor the output of the water from each truck because of the new truck utilizes the older equipment, such as the same boom arms, sprayers, boom arm pipes, and different which are of different diameters, and promptly make any alterations as needed. Currently, both newer trucks appear to be spraying the same as before. Not had a chance to look at the third one. On January 14th, 2025, ADG staff witnessed the second newer truck leaving approximately 3 lanes, much wetter than the other lanes. Item D, main track inconsistencies. Depth of the track surface from inside rail to outside rail. Moisture readings of the track surface from inside to outside rail. A rail height of 40 inches on the inside and outside rails. Measurements, readings, and daily maintenances should be recorded to properly monitor and remedy track inconsistencies. Item E, cleaning logs for grounds. Cleaning logs were not created or implemented. Inconsistent cleaning, sanitizing, and logging of all ADG racing offices and work areas, all jockeys' quarters, the claiming and testing area, the receiving barn area, and logging of all backside restrooms and shower areas. F is going to be appropriate signage enforcement at all entry points. Access to restricted areas is still not being enforced adequately. Numerous unlicensed individuals working on the backside, handling horses in the paddock. Children walking through the paddock area, especially with horses present. Unattended children, infants have been witnessed throughout the backside. The presence of non-service dogs has been seen. Individuals bringing alcohol into the paddock area. Item G, Cairo water and sewer issues. Restrooms and showers became unavailable in Cairo starting November 26, 2024. Turf Paradise brought in portable toilets on December 3rd, 2024. Portable showers were made available on January 6th, 2024. I'm sorry, 2025. There were issues with regular maintenance and cleaning of both portable toilets and showers. Portable toilets were only being cleaned once a week, which led to unsanitary conditions. January 13th, 2025, the Cairo sewer issues was resolved. Cairo restrooms and showers are now operable. This sewer issue highlights the need for Turf Paradise to timely address issues as they arise. Continue to monitor sewer and water line issues on the backside. And then the final is H, other areas of concern. Potholes on the backside are beginning to get larger and deeper. Standing water is more prevalent in all areas now. Speakers need to be maintained and repaired in a timely manner as issues arise. Apparent understaffing leading to maintenance needs not being met in a timely manner. Missing distance markers. Horseshoe inspector not looking at shoes for all races. The plan of intent with Elro because of safety issues with its current condition. The unsafe area has been roped off with caution tape after ADG staff asked track management to do so. And inadequate lighting on the main track during training hours. Again, I want to thank the commission for allowing me to give an update. on the conditions of the racing environment at Turf Paradise and the ongoing items of concern on the racing repairs and remedies list. The department has made every effort to maintain open and ongoing communication with the permittee's management to address these concerns. The department continues to recommend timely and effective resolutions to the identified items to ensure compliance with regulatory and safety standards that are necessary for the health and safety of jockeys, equine athletes, and all other participants involved in the operation of the race meet. I wish to thank you all. I appreciate it.
Mr. Duncan, you and your staff are to be commended with your hard work. You've really taken on quite a job, and all your effort is obvious and acknowledged. I sincerely appreciate you very much. Mr. Francia, do you or Mr. Sims have any comments?
Madam Chair, if it pleases the commission, I'll comment in whatever fashion is helpful to the commission. It's quite a lot of material that Mr. Duncan has provided. I can start at point A, which is the main track and training, just as Mr. Duncan did, if that is helpful.
Commissioner Olson, you raised your hand.
Yes, Chair, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Francia. We appreciate your responses that you provided to the commission, the written responses. Appreciating that the department's letter was last. I think it might be helpful for you to just update us on anything that is new that wasn't in your January 22nd letter. If there's any updates after that. Thank you.
Commissioner Olson, I think that's excellent. Let me just zero in on that which is important to all of us, and that is the water trucks. We now have 3 water trucks. The 3rd truck arrived yesterday afternoon. And what I can add here is each of the trucks has an arm which is 22 feet long. All trucks have the same length, 22 feet. 2 of the 3 arms are brand new. The other arm, which came from the old truck, was in excellent condition, so we went forward with it there. So each arm has 34 nozzles. The good thing about the nozzles, they can be adjusted. If they need to be bigger, we put in larger size, smaller, same thing. Each of the trucks holds 4,000 gallons of water. And to give you an idea of what that does, when the trucks are putting water on the track, 4,000 gallons of water is enough to water the quarter horse chute and the 1 mile oval. Then they are out of water and they return to the refueling station to get water for the next race. Each truck covers 30 feet of width. And why that's important is when you put 3 trucks out there, that's 90 feet, which is the width of the race course. And that's the goal we're trying to reach, to make sure everything is getting the proper water in one pass. A couple of the other things that I might be able to update the commission on, which Mr. Duncan mentioned.
Yes, sir.
Is the turf course. We have been off the turf course for over a week. It's going through a renovation. This came about on January 14th after the races. The jockeys called me to the room, and they were very clear that the turf course is safe, but it was getting chewed up, and they don't want to get it in a condition where we have to be off it for a long period of time, like 3 weeks. So it was agreed upon to come off of it for 2 weeks. And in that time, what we have done is we've rolled it, we've aerated it, we de-weeded it, we fertilized the grass with calcium nitrate, and now we're overseeding the course. And for anyone who's taken a look at the course recently, you'll notice on the clubhouse turn that there's tarp down, see-through tarp. And that is to force germination, to create heat under there. And why there? Well, that's the area that gets the most abuse when the horses break from the gate and now they're all heading into that clubhouse turn. That's the area that gets most torn up. So we're giving that a little bit special attention. If there's anything else the commission would like me to address, everything that Mr. Duncan brought up, I believe I have answered in the letter to the commission as to what we're doing and how we're doing it. If there's any other question the commission might have, I'll be more than happy to answer it. Is there anything else I can offer that would be helpful to the commission?
Vince, this is Jim Pettit. I think we've lost the chair.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, that's like losing a mayor. You don't want to do that.
Anna, would you mind reaching out to the chair to see if she's able to log back on?
Yeah, hold on.
Thank you.
She'll be on in a minute or two. She's signing back on.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
O'clock.
So this is Assistant Attorney General. This is Vice Chair Olson. Do we want to give the chair another couple minutes, or I know we still have quorum. What's your recommendation?
That would really be up to you and the other commission members, how you want to proceed. I don't know, Anna, if this is a technical issue.
I apologize. I am on now.
Oh,
And yeah,
okay.
I did have technical problems. I apologize.
Very good.
Welcome back. We're happy to see you again.
Thank you.
Chair, if I may, we picked up Turf Paradise was just finishing their update to us.
Right.
I'm not sure if you heard the end of it, but I do have one follow-up question for the department, unless you have any follow-ups for Turf Paradise.
No, go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Duncan, so given all of the information you've outlined for us and our understanding of Turf Paradise's ongoing efforts to close out these remaining items, is it the department's recommendation that a 45-day continuation appropriately balances a timeline to finalize the financial statements and review of those statements with safety issues going on at the track?
Thank you, Vice Chair Olson. Our recommendation at this time is for the commission to grant a conditional permit, conditioned upon an annual review of the financials by the department, final receipt and disposition of the financial report, and completion of the submitted repair list based upon the Turf Paradise track safety and grounds inspection report. The department will provide notice to the commission when the department has completed its financial review and is in position to issue its final recommendation to the commission concerning the financial condition of the permittee, and the department will continue to provide regular repair and maintenance updates to the commission.
Mr. Duncan, question, when that report becomes available, would it be released to all the commission, or would we be setting up a special meeting to review that?
Madam Chair, I would say that would have to come along whenever we do get it. We would have to decide when that is given to us as well, so that we can update you, and then we could, I think, decide whether we want to have another hearing, another commission special for it, or whether it be on a regular commission meeting.
All right.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to enter executive session to receive legal advice on the agenda item.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Olson and a second by Madam Chair. I will call the roll. Madam Chair French Contreras,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Coolidge is absent. Commissioner Zucker,
Yes.
Commissioner Parrish.
Yes.
Thank you. With a total of 4, we will move into executive session. Thank you.
And Anna, would you please email me that link
I did. Oh,
for the executive? Yeah,
yes.
please. Thank you so much. Thank you, folks. Bear with us, and we will get back to you as quickly as we can. Thank you.
Commissioner Padish, this is Val Marciano. You're still in the regular session.
Oh, thank you. Let me get
Yes,
out.
sir. Yes, sir.
It looks as though Commissioner Zucker is also.
Looks like everybody, all the commissioners are back in. Would you like me to start, Madam Chair? I will do the roll call. Madam Chair French Contreras,
Here.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Zucker,
Here.
Commissioner Parrish.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is 10:26 and the chair is yours, madam.
Thank you. We're back in session. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Do I have additional comments or discussion from our fellow commissioners? Mr. Paddish?
Thank you, Chairperson Contreras. Thanks to the staff and to the track for providing the information in advance of this meeting so that we all had an opportunity to not only read it, but to digest it. I think it's fair to say that everybody who is involved in this meeting are advocates of horse racing in Arizona and are all of the same mindset that we should do whatever possible to promote and continue horse racing in Arizona. It's not lost, I think, on any of us that the horse racing industry is in dire straits. When national tracks like Gulfstream and Golden Gate have either gone out of business or are threatening to go out of business, the impact is tremendous. I think we need to recognize that Turf Paradise has a particular slot in the racing industry. And I mean no offense by this, Mr. Sims or Vince, but it's not Del Mar, it's not Keeneland. It's a, for lack of a better description, a blue-collar racetrack. And it's never going to be new and shiny again. I think we all also need to recognize that if Mr. Sims and his crew were not willing to continue to hold this meet, that we wouldn't have horse racing in Arizona. And I think there's a fair frustration that it has taken so long to satisfy some of the conditions that were set forth in June. But to my view, the major ones have been satisfied belatedly, but satisfied. If you've been out to the track and have a mind to put $2 on a horse, you'll see that the track surface is racing fair. I mean, horses are winning from the 1 hole and the 10 hole. There are concerns about the quality of the surface of the track, and I know that that's diligently being addressed and needs to be addressed. I think for those of us who read the reports that we get from the department, there's been a rise in voided claims, which is troubling, because for a horse to enter into a race, they have to be passed as fit by the vet. And then if they're in a claimer and a claim is made and the claim is voided, that means the horse came up lame after the race. I mean, right after the race. And that's something that I think the department or the vet needs to take a look at. But having said that, you know, we're a far distance away from where we began in this process by suspending the beginning of the meet because of concerns about safety. I listened to Mr. Duncan's concerns about signage at the track and children being on the backside. Well, the reality is there's not a trainer on the backside who wasn't there when he or she was a child. And I think that is a solution in search of a problem rather than a concern that gives me any hesitation. There's signage telling people not to go into the paddock. There's signage telling them not to go in with alcohol. I mean, I don't want to say I'm there frequently, but I'm there often. I don't see folks in the paddock drinking alcohol, but if they do, they slip through, and that's going to happen. I mean, that's also not a tremendous concern by me. Statutorily, we're obligated to pass upon the financials of Turf Paradise, and we don't have those. And it's my understanding it's not the department's fault that we don't have those. It's the cogs and gears of government, where the report has to pass through several hands before we get it. And it's the raw information's been provided by Turf Paradise. The department's waiting to get it back from another agency. So, but for the financials, it would appear to me that, you know, the permit should be favorably considered. Yeah, I would like to present a motion that Turf Paradise be granted a permit subject to the approval by the commission, the final financial report, and Turf Paradise's continued compliance with the items A through H that are set forth in the report of, I think it was June 2024.
Thank you, Commissioner Padish. Your comments and insight is respected and well received. I really appreciate it. Before I get a second, I would like to say that I do have some concerns that Turf Paradise just isn't providing the staffing necessary to checklists. I mean, how hard is it to have logs in bathrooms and in areas that say this was cleaned on this day at this time? And it definitely, I understand, it's running on a shoestring, but I think that staff is stretched really thin at Turf Paradise, and I think that additional staffing would remedy a lot of the challenges that were in the list that was provided by the department to Turf Paradise. Vice Chair Olson, you've raised your hand.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and Commissioner Padish for your comments and perspective. I agree with a lot of them. I had one question for you on your motion. You suggested a grant of a permit subject to the receipt and approval of the financial statements. And I guess I just want to understand, with your motion, would the effective date then not be until after the financial statements are approved, or what was your perspective on that point?
Yeah, thank you, Vice Chair Olson and Chair Contreras. I intended the motion to grant the permit effective immediately, not at some future date. And just to flesh out the reasoning for that, I mean, there are about 1,400 people who are employed on the backside of the track, and keeping them on pins and needles as to their livelihood and their whereabouts, I think is unfair. We're into late January now, and I think there needs to be some peace of mind granted to them by a decision by the department that, of course, if the conditions aren't met, the permit can always be revoked and we can address them. But I think we need to move forward with it. So that was my intent.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think I do have the concern regarding the statutory provision. If you're willing to amend, I'm happy to second it. But I otherwise agree largely with your comments and understand that if we do maybe conditionally approve it or have some sort of continuation while that effective date comes to fruition, I believe that the current permit would be still held in abeyance and understanding. But I appreciate your comments and thank you for your perspective on that.
So Commissioner Padish, your motion then is suggesting that we simply grant this permit, or is it conditional upon these financials that we're waiting for? I'm not clear.
You sure? And then I'm, forgive me, I'm a lawyer, so I can't help but parse words. I'm mightily trying to avoid calling this a conditional permit. My motion is to grant the
Okay.
permit, subject to the condition that the financial report be submitted to and approved by the commission. Maybe it's a matter of semantics, but I think the legal consequences of it are tremendously different.
I respect that.
If I may, this is Jean Galvin. The way that the motion is worded, in my opinion, that would not be something that would be effective immediately, the granting of the permit, but rather the granting of the permit will happen if and when the commission receives and approves the financials and evidence of that the concerns are being addressed. So if your intention is to have the permit granted, immediately, it would be a motion as simple as that, is to approve the application for renewal of the permit. And then there will be an understanding that the financials will be continued to be reviewed. Progress on the deficiencies will be reviewed, and that will come back to the commission. And as Mr. Padish said, if there are concerns, you have that right to take disciplinary action against the permit.
My intention was the latter.
So just so we keep a clean record, Mr. Padish, would you withdraw your first motion?
Sure.
Okay, so that first motion is withdrawn. We didn't have a second. So now someone may want to have a different motion.
Do I have a motion?
Let me try to restate it. I would move that we grant the permit subject to the condition that a satisfactory financial report be submitted to and approved by the commission.
As well
As well as compliance with the items set forth in the previous report, A through H.
Madam Chairman, again, I'm trying to direct the commission in any way. I want to help Mr. Padish ensure that the intent is there. So perhaps the motion is to grant the permit. And that would be period. And direct staff to continue its review of the financials and review of the progress of A through H and report back to the commission.
Commissioner Zucker, you raise your hand.
Yes, I'm trying to clarify the sequence here. So what is being presented is a grant of the permit and then follow-up of the financials and conditions. Is that correct in what has been presented?
I believe that that's the intent of Mr. Padish, who's made the motion.
Thank you for clarifying.
I don't want to unnecessarily chase us back into executive session, but I do have a question for Ms. Galvin that requires legal advice. And so I would move to go back to executive session.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. My apologies, folks. We're going to make this as quick as we can. We'll get right back to you. We're going to move into executive session. Thank you.
I think you need.
Do we need to vote?
Apologies, we do. Go ahead, Anna.
Thank you. I will call the roll. Madam Clerk Contreras,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Zucker,
Yes.
Commissioner Parrish.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes. It is 10:41, and we move into executive session. Thank you.
So I think all commission members are back.
Anna, do you want to take roll?
Sure. Madam Chair French Contreras,
Here.
Vice Chair Olson,
Here.
Commissioner Zucker,
Here.
Commissioner Padish.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is now 10:58 a.m. and the floor is yours, Chair.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, we had a motion from Commissioner Padish. I didn't have a second. So that motion has failed or died for lack of a second. Do I have another motion?
Chair, this is Vice Chair Olson. I'll move, well, let me just preface before my motion. Again, we appreciate everything that the track has done and been responsive with in the work of the department. And I acknowledge that we have a statutory obligation to review the financial statements before granting the permit. And we also appreciate that that is out of our hands, or out of those who are here's hands at the moment. And so we're waiting on that information. So with that background, I'd move to continue the hearing on the renewal of Turf Paradise's 33-year commercial and teletrack permit for 45 days so that the commission can receive and approve those statutorily required financial statements and also receive any updates that the department might have related to safety concerns.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Do I have a second?
Second.
I said,
Oh, go ahead.
this is Commissioner Zucker. I second it.
Thank you. Anna, do you want to take a roll?
Yes,
Madam
thank you.
Chair, just as a point of discussion, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I too share Vice Chair Olson's understanding that it's our obligation to review and approve the financials before being able to grant a permit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had a motion by Vice Chair Olson and a second by Commissioner Zucker. I will call the roll. Madam French Contreras,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Zucker,
Yes.
Commissioner Padish.
Yes.
With the total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you, folks. All right, let's drop down to item B2, and that's a request for the commission's approval for an outside counsel, Patrick Irvine's representation and acceptance of service from the Arizona Racing Commission regarding claims that were set forth by Arizona Down LLC's complaint filed in Maricopa County Superior Court, preserving all defenses, including nullifying of the service or process due to the non-jural status pertaining to the department and commission. Do I have any updates from staff on this matter?
Chair, this is Director Johnson.
Yes, Director.
Yeah, staff doesn't have any updates on this as it's a legal matter.
Yes, ma'am. Do I have any comments from my fellow commissioners or a motion?
Chair, I'd like to make a motion for a brief executive session to receive legal advice from the attorney on this matter.
Yes, ma'am. Do I have a second?
Second.
Anna?
Thank you. With the motion by Vice Chair Olson and Commissioner Padish, I will call the roll. Madam Chair French Contreras,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Zucker,
Yes.
Commissioner Parrish.
Yes.
With a total of 4 yeses, we move into executive session. It is 11:03 a.m.
Thank you, folks. Anna, do we have all the commissioners?
We do. I will do the roll call. Madam Chair French Contreras,
Here.
Vice Chair Olson,
Here.
Commissioner Zucker,
Here.
Commissioner Parrish.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is now 11:20 a.m. and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. All right, we were addressing the agenda item regarding appointment of special counsel. Did I have any further conversation, comments from my council members?
Chair, this is Vice Chair Olson. I'm ready to make a motion.
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
I'd like to move to approve outside counsel Patrick Irvine's representation of and acceptance of service for the Arizona Racing Commission regarding the claim set forth in Arizona Downs complaint in the Superior Court of Arizona, County of Maricopa County, and preserving all defenses, including those stated in the agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
This is Commissioner Zucker. I second.
Thank you. Anna?
Thank you. I have a motion by Vice Chair Olson and a second by Commissioner Zucker. I will call the roll. Madam Chair French Contreras,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Zucker,
Yes.
Commissioner Parrish.
Yes.
With a total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Let's drop down to information reports. Item C1, do we have a report from Dr. Gale or any division staff?
Hi, Chair Contreras. The only report I have is that on June 6th, 7th, and 8th, HISA was out with the department. They were conducting their accreditation process, to which there should be a report coming out to Turf Paradise exclusively. And that's all I have for that.
Thank you. Dr. Gale?
The only thing I have is I did share the tracker of breakdowns. And we've only had 3 thoroughbred injuries during races. The last one was in December on the 17th. We had 1 quarter horse breakdown back in November. And since then, there have been a few on the training track or during training hours, the most recent being January 13th. So on the year, there have been a total of 18 horses that for various reasons have had to be euthanized. 4 of those are during the races. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Gale. Do I have any questions or comments from my fellow commissioners?
Yeah, Dr. Gale, this is Jim Paddish. And I mentioned this earlier. In looking over the reports that we get, there seems to be an increase in the number of voided claims. Can you speak to that?
Yes, thank you for the question. It's variable. Voided claims are variable. There's some days where we have several, and other days where, like yesterday, all the claims passed. Again, some of these horses, what we're finding, again, they're able to run the race, but again, on post-race exam after they've cooled out, have a lameness, and I will try for the next meeting in a few weeks to have maybe a more complete report for you in terms of how many voided claims, and also maybe some follow-up on some of those horses, and letting you know how many return to racing and how many do not. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, it sure would. And if it's in your bailiwick to do it, if you could offer an opinion regarding any similar cause of them coming up lame. I mean, they pass going into the race and they're coming out of the race lame.
There have been some where, again, we're finding them sound enough to race on pre-race exam. But again, I'd have to kind of look back at the history of each of the horses. And I think that might provide some clues, because again, some of the horses may have had previous history of issues, or may have been horses that we had concerns about on pre-race exam, but they were sound enough to run. I could divvy it up along some of those categories. That might help clarify some of it. But again, just like the horses that actually do break down, it's a multifactorial problem for sure. The horses themselves, the track surface, the veterinary care, everything. So, but I'll try to get that together for you for the next meeting and get it out to you so you have time to review it.
Great, thank you.
Dr. Holland, you raised your hand.
Thank you. Sorry, trying to get the mute off. Good morning. This is Dr. Mandy Holland, and I would just like to further comment with Dr. Gale on that. I've had the opportunity to also be the track vet for a few days, and I am also aware in watching these horses in post parade and watching them warm up before the races. You know, I've seen some horses that I'm concerned about soft tissue problems because they look sore in the soft ground, and then I ask them to jog in a hard area and they seem to go better but choppy in front. Consistent with sometimes some soft tissue injuries. I know we've had some inconsistencies in the track, meaning there's been some holes, some ruts, and I think that some of that can be accounted for as well with seeing some of these voided claims. I think some of these races have been run and these horses might fall, you know, in a hole, in a rut, have a little injury that pops up due to that, just like you and I stepping in a hole, twisting an ankle, but then walk it off. And so I think that comes back to just some of the irregular consistencies that we're still seeing in this racing surface, that we're still trying to get through. And I've seen the same thing on the chart results and been wondering the same thing. And I have a feeling that might be consistent with what we're seeing as we follow up with these horses on the next day or in a few days after they race, based on what we're seeing in post-parade examination and then what happens after the race. And so that's all I would like to comment on.
Thank you, Dr. Holland. Any other comments or questions from my fellow commissioners? Otherwise, we'll drop down to budget report.
All right, good morning, everybody. This is Andrew Hawks with the Department of Gaming.
Good morning.
Morning. So let's start with the cash balance. These numbers are as of the end of December, and the racing fund's cash balance was approximately $1.7 million. And year to date, the department had collected $691,000 in revenue and spent $903,000 against the racing appropriation. And those revenues and expenses are broken out by category here. Then in the bottom right corner, you'll see that the department's annual appropriation is approximately $2.3 million. And that means the expenditures cannot exceed that amount regardless of our cash flow. Below that, there are two calendar year 24 HISA assessment costs listed. The department has a different appropriation to pay these out of, so they don't count against the $2.3 million appropriation. However, they don't have their own funding source, which means they come out of the same racing fund that our operating expenses come out of. And so these payments impact the fund's cash balance. Next slide, please. And as mentioned, the annual appropriation for racing is $2.3 million, and the straight line in this chart represents a glide path toward that maximum spending authority. Our year-to-date expenses as of December do fall below the line, but the second half of the year is projected to have higher expenses, mainly due to the higher personnel costs during the race meet, and because boxing expenditures have started counting against the racing appropriation. We are monitoring this appropriation closely so that we won't exceed the 2.3 million by the end of the fiscal year, but it is a concern. Next slide, please. This chart represents the racing fund's cash balance at the end of each month. The significant dip in September was caused by the first calendar year 24 HISA assessment payment, and we will see another dip either in January or February for the second payment. Cash flow is a concern for us because these HISA assessments are currently being funded by the same revenues we use for our operations. And while this arrangement has allowed us to implement our first HISA agreements, it is not a permanent solution for funding HISA compliance. We have raised these concerns, and the fiscal year 26 executive budget does include some proposed changes to help keep the racing fund from running out of money. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. So you are saying, Mr. Hawks, that they are looking at other funding sources for these HISA assessments?
Not necessarily other funding sources, but they are looking at the RWA in the executive budget.
Okay.
So same funding source, different rate. I'll add to that, you know how boxing is spending against our appropriation. They have a proposal in place to increase boxing's appropriation so that its expenses will count only against its own and not racing's.
Thank you. Any other questions from my fellow commissioners? Mr. Hawks, thank you very much. I appreciate your report. Let's drop down to legislative updates. Do we have anything?
Yep. Good morning. This is Jessica Rosa, Chief Legislative Liaison.
Good morning.
Brief. Since we had a long and fantastic meeting this morning. So as of today, there's been over 960 pieces of legislation that have been introduced. As Mr. Hawks mentioned, executive budget was released last week. We, as an agency, remain neutral on all proposed legislation. One notable piece of legislation specific to the racing industry, which you guys may or may not be aware of at this point, is SB 1126, which was introduced by Senator TJ Shope. It's titled the Equine Economic Improvement Fund. For awareness, this bill has been referred to the Senate Natural Resources and the Senate Appropriations Committee for consideration. We as an agency are closely monitoring progress of both budget and SB 1126, as well as other legislative proposals that may impact the racing industry. If any stakeholders want to discuss specific pieces of legislation or any potential budget impacts, feel free to connect with me and we can schedule a meeting.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Any questions from my fellow commissioners? Otherwise, we can drop down to Mr. Gessman and HISA report.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair. Leroy Gessman with the National HBPA. We're kind of in the holding pattern. We're on the docket for the Supreme Court. We're waiting to hear if they're going to hear our case or not hear our cases. The way I understand it is every Friday, but since January 10th, they have conferences on Fridays to determine which cases they hear. They did not make a ruling on ours January 10th or January 17th, but maybe later today we'll hear something on ours. If not, we'll just remain on the docket till they hear it. That's really all I have to update you on. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, sir. If I don't have any questions, we'll move down to C5, the permittee reports. Do I have anything from American Greyhound Racing?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, Aaron Feinberg for American Greyhound Racing. No update this month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. How about county fairs? Turf Paradise, Mr. Francia?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Just 3 points I'll touch upon that I think might be helpful to the commission that I didn't have time to review early on. One is potholes in the backstretch that we are tending to. We want those taken care of immediately. And I've received 2 bids from 2 different companies, but last evening I received a phone call from Dylan Alvarez. He is our track consultant. And the young man is based in Prescott. He spends 16 days a month down here at Turf Paradise, especially on days when we're renovating the track. And Dylan owns a construction company. That's his business, and it's specific to building roads. And so he offered to take care of the potholes for us. And I welcome that because it's something we work with Dylan every day that he's down here. And I certainly trust him, and it's a quick way of getting this done because we just don't want them on the backstretch. Second point I wanted to touch upon is logs or schedules that was brought up. And that was submitted to me by Mr. Duncan, Brian Duncan. And there are 9 schedules. 7 of them pertain to keeping a schedule for cleaning the different offices here by the cleaning company. 2 of the schedules pertain to cleaning the cleaning barn and 1 to the receiving barn. And what we did when we received them, we had to translate them into Spanish because all of our consulting staff are Hispanic speakers, and they are now in operation. In other words, all these logs are out in the field where they're supposed to be, where they're keeping daily tabs on what they're doing. So I hope that is helpful. The last item is staffing here at Turf Paradise. I frequently hear that we're understaffed. I would like to dispel that notion, if I could, please. We may run lean, but we run extremely wise and keen. And I think at times the notion that we're understaffed comes up when somebody wants something done and we can't do it immediately. We will get to it. And the reason being, this facility we're approaching our 70th birthday. So it doesn't operate like a facility that is 20 years old, something that's always happening, and we have to tend to it. But the point I want to make first of all, my staff is instructed to prioritize. The other day I was sitting in my office, I was going through Rolodexing in my head, the 3 things I wanted to tend to in the next 30 minutes when all the power went out at Turf Paradise. There was an APS, problem that knocked out 780 units, including Turf Paradise. So all the things I wanted to do had to be put on hold because I have to tend to that which is most urgent. And my staff is taught to do the same. But what we do have are tremendous consulting firms that we bring in to do certain repair work, a lot of sewer work. That would be an example. Water pipes breaking, we seem to have had a flurry of that. And they can come in within a couple hours and get things done. So I just wanted the commission to touch on those 3 things for the commission and to assure the commission that we are being attentive to these things. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. And your update is let's drop down to C6, the Optional Industry Stakeholders Association updates. Do we have anything from Arizona County Racing Association? How about Arizona Quarter Horse Racing?
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, this is Lloyd Yother, President of the Arizona Quarter Racing Association and the Arizona HBPA Association. If it please the Chair, I'd like to comment on B and D as well in one report, if that pleases the Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to say that I'd like to thank Jerry Sims for his commitment for upgrading the track equipment at Turf Paradise. the equipment has been replaced and renewed, and new added. And I personally spoke with Jerry yesterday and discussed the need of additional track personnel with track experience to work maintenance and renovations on the track. He agreed and directed General Manager Vince Francia to hire 2 additional men effective immediately. Hopefully they can be on board in the next couple of days. I think that'll improve our track conditions. I appreciate Jerry's response, responding positively to the needs to help us move forward in a positive manner. That's my report at this point in time. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gessman. That's a positive report. We appreciate hearing that.
Lloyd Yother, I'm with Mr. Gessman and
yes,
3
sir.
of our board members. Just for the record, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Yother. Dropping down, Thoroughbred Breeders Association.
Good morning. This is Wendy McCumber, the Secretary Treasurer of the Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association. Good morning,
Yes,
Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, and stakeholders. We would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone that continues to support the Thoroughbred Breed Program in Arizona. We're excited about our upcoming Sell Stakes race that's on Monday, February 3rd. And we've also wanted to let people know that we've made our first payout of Breeders and Owners Awards for this meet. So please check your mailbox. And please remember to continue to enter your Arizona breds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McCumber. Do I have any update? Horsemen's Benevolent Protective Association. We covered that. Jockeys Guild.
Yes, Madam Chair, Lloyd Yother again. Yeah, I had all I had to say under 6B and D. So
okay,
we've already covered the HBPA.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Hare, Jockeys Guild.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Gerald here, manager with the Jockeys Guild. Well, my hope is that with the support of the board, that Turf Paradise continues to improve safety at that racetrack. I know there's it's an old building, an old facility, it needs a lot of attention. But right now, there's basic things that need to be addressed, whether it's lights in the morning so the jockeys and backstretch workers can see, or lights in the jocks rooms so the valets can see that need to be replaced. And I was there 2 weeks ago and the lights were out. And I know there's a lot of issues every day there at Turf Paradise, but things that need to be addressed right away. There needs to be, in my opinion, more workers. There's so much that needs to be done, and everything seems to be kind of on the back burner or gets addressed as they go along. So my hope is that a lot of these issues are addressed right away. They're safety issues. And I just hope there's more employees to take care of these issues. And pertaining to the equipment there, I'm glad now there's tractors and harrows and now water trucks to make the track hopefully consistent. Because as that vet spoke, inconsistency will hurt horses. And that's what I'm hearing from my jockeys with that surface. So hopefully that's being addressed. It's just hasn't been a consistent surface, and that really hurts horses. So I'm just hoping with the, things that have been brought to the attention that have to be addressed right away. I hope that it's done right away before something happens, because the hardworking trainers and backstretch workers at Turf Paradise, they deserve they really deserve to have a safe and good environment there. I appreciate the board's time. Thank you.
Yes, sir. When you've got issues coming up, Mr. Hare, how do you address them? Do you go to Mr. Francia, or what are you doing?
Yes, I go to Mr. Francia, and you know, it seems to me that he's overwhelmed a lot of times with what's going on there, because you know, I don't hear back from him at times, and everything's just seemed on the back burner. They just think they addressed issues as we go along, but there's so much. And every day it seems like there's, you know, just something that has to be done, but they're backed up. So that's not good. That's not good.
I appreciate your comments. And I'm sure Mr. Francia can address concerns. He sounds like he's on board and getting the staff and the issues addressed. I hope we can continue to have some open communication there, and maybe have a little bit better report next month, Mr. Francia. I know that management issue. It's not something the commission can really address, but perhaps you and Mr. Hare can have a conversation about some of the issues the jockeys are having.
Yes, Madam Chair. Mr. Hare and I speak weekly, and more than once. And I do not put things on the back burner. Nobody does that here. We get to them as quickly as we can, and if we can, we bring in these consulting services to help. But the communication is maintained between Mr. Hare and myself.
Yes, sir. I have no doubts. Any comments or questions from my fellow commissioners? Otherwise, we'll drop down to D, the commission report. Summary of current events affecting the Racing Commission. It may be a little premature. We're not discussing our next meeting yet, but one of the things that I was wondering about, since we did have a motion approved for 45 days on the permit for Turf Paradise, is that's going to take us to March 10th, and our next meeting is scheduled for March 13th. So would it behoove us to perhaps look at a March 7th meeting date? That is a dark day. If everybody could maybe look at their calendar. I'm just trying to consolidate these meetings since they're only a few days away from each other. And get with Anna. Perhaps Anna, would a March 7th date work for all of us?
I believe so. So far, it looks like everyone's okay with that date. As far as the commissioners, I haven't gotten a response back for Commissioner Olson.
Okay.
So if the public is okay with it, then.
Yeah, plus I just want the public to have plenty of notice when we do have these meeting date changes so that they can be prepared. So we'll look at that. Do I have any other matters for my commissioners to discuss to be placed on future agendas? If not, we'll drop down to E, call to the public, and have our presentation by Mr. Nolan. Are you available?
I am director or chairperson. I appreciate that.
Sure.
I'll try to be brief. Just a correction, though, that we do have a February meeting scheduled, I do believe, before the March. So that's like in 2 or 3 weeks. And then to clarify, you're going to move the March one prior to the scheduled meeting to adopt the 45-day requirement. And with that said,
yes, sir.
Okay, with that said, I'd like to just make sure that the commission's aware that in the statutes, the continuance is important. and the uncertainty that Commissioner Padish mentioned, there's a lot of it. So I don't know why we're doing 45 days if that was just thrown out there, because statutes allow for a total of 728 days plus a 30-day time frame for substantive review. You have time to put more on so that it's not every 45 days. It could go till the last day of the meet, but yet you would have updated at the regular meetings what's being done, what isn't being done, and it would still be under your jurisdiction. And I find that to be very important, to keep it under your jurisdiction. So with that said, I want to also bring up another statute a statute that's from Title V, the Arizona Racing Commission Director Division's Powers and Duties. The last one, it would be S. The division may adopt rules pursuant to Title 41, Chapter 6, and that's, excuse my phone, and that is to just administrative procedures to carry out the purposes of this article, to ensure the safety and integrity of racing in the state and to protect public interests. Those are the duties and powers that was granted to the commission. Right now, with the response I had received by the department, you only have two choices, and that is to grant the permit or to deny the permit. I had spoke with previous commissioner, and that's what they were advised. They couldn't do anything else. And I may be proposing a third option that the commission may have to address at some time, and that would be to put it in receivership, similar to the Corporation Commission doing to Johnson Utilities, similar to the, and that one's so closely related to this kind of an industry. But you need to know your options. It needs to be clarified. I hope that there may be a way to clarify that in the future. You got to have a third option so that this industry could move forward. We've been going through a problem for many years, many years, all the way back 19 years that came out in the Arizona revised statutes review by the Auditor General. And that's 19 years ago. And that's why the commission needs to know what their powers and duties are. In 2006, the department concluded that Jerry Sims, Turf Paradise owner, was unfit to receive renewal application based on his inappropriate and corrupt personal and business history, that he established a dangerous pattern of disregard for the Department of Racing regulatory authority. He placed horsemen, racehorses, jockeys, other licensees, department employees at physical risk by ignoring the timely and complete correction of health and safety, property, and operational problems. That Sims continually ignored and neglected stakeholders' needs. That Sims consistently failed to comply with regulatory requirements of other state and local jurisdictions. Sims failed to act responsibly during the current permit time. The Sims failed to comply with the permit background investigation statutory requirements, and that Sims revealed a personal relationship with Racing Commission Chairman that created that was in 2006. You have a litigation of 10 years against a racing commission, a different panel than this 5 panel that we have now. And thank goodness we have a different 5 panel now. But although the department recommended the application be denied, the Racing Commission approved a 3-year permit without conditions or requirements for problems to be rectified. This is why it's 19 years ago. You still have these same problems. You're worrying about staff. What is the industry standard with staff at racetracks? Because it's far below here. Each of these meetings get to be another Groundhog Day because nothing's accomplished. Band-Aids are put on. They're not fixed. We're in February. We've had since last May, when the last horse left, to try to accomplish some of these things, and they have not been done. I hope in the future that you'll see that I hope the commission will have more powers and duties to ensure the safety and integrity, to help an industry move forward, to not only survive, but to thrive. We're not thriving. We're barely surviving. Let's hope that we can move forward very soon. And I thank you for your time.
would you have raised your hand, Mr. Author?
Yes, Madam Commissioner and Madam Chairman of Commissioners, I just wanted to make a small correction to what Commissioner Padish had said. He mentioned that if Turf Paradise went away, there'd be no more horse racing in Arizona. We're not racing at Arizona Downs now, but we're maintaining the facility, and were Turf Paradise to stop running, we would very likely commence racing again. It would likely be different ownership, but I don't want everybody to forget that there is another track that's available and would likely provide racing should Turf Paradise go away. That's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Holland, you raised your hand. Are you still there?
No, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was still raised. Thank you.
No, no problem at all. Any other call to the public before we move down? All right, let's then just move down to any other announcements. We do, of course, clarification, have our February meeting, and then we're looking at moving our, we'll have our February 14th meeting, and then we're looking at a March 7th meeting. If I don't have any other comments from our fellow commissioners, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Anna?
Thank you. With the motion by Vice Chair Olson and a second by, I believe that was Zucker. I will call the roll. Madam Chair French Contreras?
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Zucker?
Yes.
Commissioner Padish?
Yes.
Thank you. The time is 11:57 a.m. and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, please exit the meeting for this meeting has adjourned.
Thank you very much. And we will see you on Arizona's birthday, February 14th. Have a good day.